Within the BJP, the knives are out and the split now is wide open. Very clearly now we are being told that Ram Jethmalani does not want Nitin Gadkari to continue as president. He's even questioning Sushma Swaraj, asking how does Sushma Swaraj know that she has the backing of the BJP. We'll to go on our top story, but news just coming in that the group of ministers on media has been reconstituted with big names making an entry in this GOM. Ambika Soni replaced by new INB Minister Manish Tewari. Chidambaram and Salman Khurshid continue to stay. The group of ministers is this key interface body between the government and top brass and the media. So the GOM on media has been reconstituted. Manish Tewari makes an entry. He has replaced Ambika Soni here. Union Finance Minister P. Chidambaram and External Affairs Minister Salman Khurshid stay in. Now this group of ministers is extremely crucial. It's the key interface body between the government top brass and the media. And headlines today is Managing Editor Rahul Kanwal now joins us for more. Rahul, take us through the latest.
Gaurav, we're here currently at Mr. Jethmalani's place where Mr. Gurumurthy has come to meet him. But very quickly on the story that we just broke about the GOM for media being reconstituted. In fact, the government is now rolling out a very aggressive media plan. The Prime Minister and his senior ministers have come to the conclusion that in the era of social media, in the era of 24/7 television, the government is being outmaneuvered and outwitted by the likes of Arvind Kejriwal almost on a daily basis, and also they believe that the BJP is doing a far better job of handling the media, managing media relations than the government has been able to, which is why a young aggressive face like Manish Tewari has been brought in with the express agenda of actually becoming far more proactive than Mrs. Ambika Soni ever was. She was seen as being from an earlier generation, one which didn't belong to the 24/7 digital media age, and therefore she was eased out and is being sent to the party for higher organizational purposes. But what we know is that Manish Tewari's brief from the Prime Minister, from Mrs. Gandhi, is to completely change the manner in which the government is responding to stories. Earlier, and you know this very well, the government would take 48 hours, 72 hours, maybe more in responding to stories. Things changed a bit after Harish Khare was eased out and Pankaj Pachauri was brought in. Since he comes from a TV background himself, he was far more with the needs of the digital space. However, now with Manish Tewari, who spent a lot of his time on various talk shows, understands the media space much better, being brought in, they're pushing forward the pedal, and the reconstitution of the GOM media, that story which we just broke, is actually the first step in that direction. Ambika Soni and Pawan Bansal, who was part of the GOM and media but was never seen as being very active as part of the GOM for media, both of them have been eased out. Manish Tewari has been brought in. He's replacing Ambika Soni, of course, and Kamal Nath has been brought in as well, and Ashwini Kumar. That represents Kamal Nath and Ashwini Kumar because they've been given a leg up and given more important responsibilities. They are being brought in. They are considered more media savvy. The government needs articulate spin masters to go out and put forth the government strategy, which is why over the next few weeks we will see a very aggressive government. They're saying that we are being hammered, we are being pilloried, we can't take this lying down. We have to give it back to the opposition and be very aggressive in the media space. That's why the GOM media has been reconstituted, and that's the story I just broke. Gaurav.
Indeed, Rahul, stay on with me. Also joining us is our Deputy Editor Kartike Sharma. Kartike, for Manish Tewari, the challenge is massive. The opposition is seen as extremely strong in social media, and that is where the government is trying to make major inroads, getting in younger blood, but they have to land on their feet running now.
You see, I would say that one important change they did not do in the group of ministers is that they have retained Salman Khurshid. Generally, I have seen that a minister in charge of foreign affairs is not part of the group of ministers, because group of ministers actually deal with day-to-day domestic issues, not foreign affairs. So Salman Khurshid has been retained. Yes, Pawan Bansal has been dropped because he is now railways minister. Instead of Pawan Bansal, you have Kamal Nath, who is the new parliamentary affairs minister. and Manish Tewari, obviously the new information broadcasting minister, including I would say, and then Ambika is a drop. But then the challenge is greater for, I would say, Manish Tewari, because he's Minister of State with independent charge.
Yes.
And Gaurav, you'd be surprised to know that the problem here, which now the bureaucrats are tackling, is that he does not have access to all the cabinet papers. So if you don't have the access to cabinet papers, you're not invited for each and every cabinet meeting, then how do you brief the press? How do you take care of that aspect of off-record briefing? So that technicality, that modality has to be worked out. It will be worked out. Some other senior minister would be given charge. Maybe Ashwini Kumar will do that, because as a new law minister, he's part of the GOM media. But I would say that this one particular issue of Manish will have to be looked into again, as to how he would be able to deal with people who cover the cabinet, or those who are covering the government and the decisions which are taken the highest echelons, at the highest level, because he is not represented there. I think that's a real issue which I have been told by many senior bureaucrats will need to be sorted out at the highest level.
Rahul, does the government have a plan in place as they move on to into this next step in engaging with the media just 2 years before elections? Does the government have a plan in place already?
Well, that's what Manish Tewari's brief is, and he's been working overtime to make it happen, because he's one of these people who's been waiting in the wings for an opportunity to come his way to show what he's made up of. So far, that opportunity hadn't come his way. Each time he was overlooked during cabinet reshuffles. He believes that this is a tough challenge, but being an articulate lawyer, he thinks he's up to it. And what he needs to demonstrate through the reconstitution of the GOM media, through the response the government gives in various adversarial situations, whether or not the government's handling of the media changes. He's worked out a blueprint. He's got some ideas. He's trying to roll them out. He's been meeting with Pankaj Pachauri. He's been meeting with other officials in the Press Information Bureau. So they've been doing all of that. But given how much damage has already been done to the credibility of this government, how much of lost ground will they be able to recover? That is key, and that's what needs to be seen, and it's too early to pass judgment one way or the other on that, Gaurav.
Okay, we'll track the story very closely. Rahul, stay on with me. Karthikeya, for the moment, many thanks for joining me. Let's now shift focus to the big story of the day. Ram Jethmalani, he of course doesn't like that word rebellion, but Ram Jethmalani taking on the BJP president Nitin Gadkari. Even as we speak, there is a meeting going on between Guru Murthy and Ram Jethmalani. That meeting has started, and an attempt is being made to work out a rapprochement if it's still possible. Guru Murthy was supposed to meet Jethmalani 6 times earlier. 6 times Ram Jethmalani said that meeting was planned, but it did not take place. Now, let me once again bring in Rahul Kanwal, who just interviewed Ram Jethmalani. Let me also bring in Atish Srivastav for more on this. Rahul, 6 times Ram Jethmalani and Guru Murthy planned to meet. When Ram Jethmalani was in England, you'd interviewed him, and that time he said, the BJP is trying to, talk to me. There's some kind of a rapprochement that is being attempted. It's only when he had this press conference today that actually Guru Murthy came around to meeting him.
As Guru Murthy is one of the best known ideologues for the RSS, and when we interviewed Ram Jethmalani in London, he told us that somebody from the BJP RSS was in touch with him. He didn't name that person at that time, and he said, hold your fire, don't say anything against Nitin Gadkari till the time you come back to India. We will set up a meeting with Nitin Gadkari, and in that meeting Nitin Gadkari will present the facts that he has about the charges levelled against Purti Power. Now he came back last Sunday. Saturday evening is when Ram Jethmalani came back. More than a week has passed, and neither Mr. Guru Murthy nor Nitin Gadkari showed up to meet him, which is why earlier this morning we broke the story about Ram Jethmalani's open rebellion against the BJP president, even though he doesn't like that word. Now, just as I finished that interview, Ram Jethmalani got word that as Guru Murthy has come in to meet him. I'm in fact waiting to do the Aaj Tak interview, which is why we're still here. That meeting taking place inside Ram Jethmalani's office. I'll just ask my camera person to show what you can. You won't really see very much, but what is happening in this meeting is important, because from what we've been told, S. Guru Murthy is actually presenting Nitin Gadkari's defense. He's laying out before Mr. Jethmalani the facts as the RSS and Mr. Gadkari sees them. We're told by the RSS that the defense that Nitin Gadkari laid out was fairly convincing. The RSS top honchos seem to accept what Gadkari showed them. S. Gurumurthy is currently here. He's going to present his side, Mr. Gadkari's defense to Mr. Jethmalani, and after that, he is supposed to go to where Atish is currently, where the BJP executive core committee is supposed to meet and deliberate on what Mr. Gurumurthy gets as a response from Mr. Jethmalani. But it's very interesting because what we are seeing, Gaurav, is really the ganging up of the old guard.
Yes.
You know, the BJP currently split into three factions. You know, you've got on the one side the Jaitley Modi faction. The Gadkari faction believe that it is this faction that is trying to trip them over. There is the Gadkari RSS faction. The RSS very keen on continuing with Mr. Gadkari because Mohan Bhagwat is the one who gave Gadkari the position that he's got, and he's keen on ensuring that he stays there, because if Gadkari is made to quit at this time, it will be a personal embarrassment for the RSS Sarchang Chalak. Then there is the third faction which is rallying around Mr. Advani. In this faction are the likes of Sushma Swaraj, Anand Kumar and others. Also Yashwant Sinha and Jaswant Singh, because they feel threatened and they feel possible marginalization might await them if the Jaitley Modi duo were to take over. So those are the three broad factions into which the BJP is divided, and it's very interesting the power plays that are going on with each team trying to checkmate the other, and they're coming together not necessarily on the basis of who's friends with whom, but who's the lesser enemy. All of that happening right here, Gaurav.
Interesting times to be covering this major political development, Rahul. For the moment, many thanks for joining me. Joining us now, two senior journalists who will help us analyze what's happening within the BJP. Joining us now are Sanjeev Srivastav, Vineet Narayan. Welcome on Headlines today. Sanjeev Srivastav, at this point of time, we have S. Gurumurthy, RSS ideologue, going and meeting Ram Jethmalani. Isn't this too little and too late?
See, I think what the RSS and some faction of the BJP leadership is trying to do is the damage is already done. Nitin Gadkari is not going to get a second term. It's like so very clear. Now, what is the kind of face saver that one can offer rather than you have a meeting this evening at 7 and decide to sack him? That is more or less unacceptable and not a done thing in politics. Yes. So that's unlikely to happen. Certain groups are insisting on that, and they have brought matters to this flashpoint that the party's dirty linen was open in public vis-a-vis Nitin Gadkari, and now the infighting is also open on this issue in public domain.
Yes.
So how do you reconcile these apparent contradictions which are embarrassing the party no end? Nitin Gadkari is one factor, the biggest factor, but this infighting is adding to that embarrassment. So I think what Gurumurthy may be doing, what is transpiring in that closed door meeting is, your guess is as good as mine, but if we kind of try and follow it with some kind of deductive logic, it has to be that message is being conveyed to all relevant people that Nitin Gadkari won't be given a second term. But now let him last
till at least December,
or till at least another couple of weeks. Let's not make a hue and cry. Let things happen in a manner which at least the party can try and explain as some kind of orderly, natural process.
An honorable exit for Nitin Gadkari. But is that now possible, Vineet Narayan? Look at the way Sushma Swaraj came out and tweeted that I am with Nitin Gadkari and he has my backing and the party is with him. And Ram Jethmalani, in that exclusive interview to Headlines today, short of saying, how does Sushma Swaraj know? What is the basis of her assessment?
You see, as Sanjeev rightly said, the infighting is coming out in open. But more interestingly, what I feel that RSS, which used to claim that they are non-political, they have nothing to do with BJP as a party, they are socially committed organization, by too much interfering in the political affairs of BJP, RSS stands exposed today. And Nitin Gadkari's position, I mean, as an individual, I don't think he has done major scam, that the whole transaction, it's more like a adjustment of black money into white money, which every small trader does. It's a different matter that a party head of a national party should not be indulging in such petty transactions, but that's leave aside. Otherwise also, this kind of stature which is required for a national party, I think Nitin Gadkari lacked that, and RSS imposed upon BJP. Today RSS is finding it difficult to come out of this situation, though they are saying that they have nothing to do with internal political matters. But it has to be a face-saving, exit for RSS also. So these kind of internal pressures, centrifugal forces put together, they are creating a situation. But as being rightly discussed, that his days are counted. He cannot continue to be the
And Nitin
president.
Gadkari was some kind of a big revenge of the RSS on the BJP.